What's up, friends? Wish me luck. Here I am trying to get this recording here for you, this after action report with RONIN 47R, where I purchase and play the ISU-130 while I have a busy family in the background, so wish us luck. So here you go. You see these three tanks out here. They did come in a package. However, I think I'm going to go ahead and release the ISU-130 video first because it's going to benefit you, because this tank is the first tank of the package to be released as a single tank. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to the garage. We're going to quickly blast through the purchase of the Heavy Metal Heroes Mega Package, because I like to have that historical stamp there where you can go ahead and pause it and whatnot and see all the details as necessary. Now in this particular package, like I said, it does come with those three tanks. However, I'm going to go ahead and just do the after action report on only the ISU-130. The M51, the FV305, those will be coming in the near future. For now, we're going to go ahead and just jump into the garage and go over the setup of this particular tank. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I ended up doing so. All right, how's it going, guys? We're taking a look here at the HMH ISU-130, or as some people would say, the ISU-130. This is another Tier 8, and this is a tank destroyer. It's another Tier 8 premium that came in with the Heavy Metal Hero Mega Bundle, or just you can buy it individually. By now, you can go ahead and buy it individually. None of the other tanks at the time of this recording have been offered yet. It's just the Mega and the ISU-130 in a couple of flavor offerings, being the loaded and that sort of thing. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. You may notice that I've already taken the liberty to go ahead and set this thing up to save us some time. You can see I've went ahead and customized it with the emblem, the red and white stripes. That is the emblem, the logo, the brand. That is the YouTube channel there. Clan 47R, and so on and so forth. We do have two locations that we can place it on. Some tanks there's only one. This one has two. Mazel tov for you there. Meanwhile, I went ahead and put on the camouflage, and in this case it is only displaying, I believe, the urban camouflage. But this, as a side note, is the only tank of the Heavy Metal Heroes that actually allows you to modify the paint scheme of the camouflage there. So don't know why. Kind of weird. Like, how do they come up with that decision? Don't know. Would love to hear about it though. Wargaming, let me know. So I did have to select and choose the 4 camouflages for the 4 seasons or environments that this tank would be found playing in. So I went ahead and took care of that. Also, too, you can go ahead and put some inscriptions on if you wish. I did not at this time. Of course, it'll be a Russian list of inscriptions because this is under the Russian tech tree line. Emblems, went ahead and pointed that out to you already. So that takes care of that. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to jump over to the equipment. But before I do that, you kind of have to, let's just take a look at it this way. Dare to be different. Notice this is a 130 millimeter S-26. The point of my story, though, is it's a 130 millimeter gun, and this thing is very similar to the 122S tank destroyer premium at tier 7. But this guy here right now is the 130. So how is that really changing things around? Well, you know, when it comes to equipment selection, there are many characteristics to look at, but the primary characteristics, and again, this is just the world according to me, so take it with a grain of salt, do whatever you're going to do. But for me, I'm going to take a look at the characteristics of the gun to help me decide what I'm going to do. The gun is a primary section, primary piece of equipment for a tank. This guy here has a 5.83 rounds per pen of 215, damage 490, just kind of putting that in the background of my mind. It really doesn't affect the equipment. But the rate of fire does. The aim time 2.10. Gosh, 2.10 for a Russian gun, and it's a big gun? Doesn't that catch your eye? That's pretty darn short aim time, considering this is a Russian big gun. Different, very different, very different. So what I went ahead and did is let me back that thing out a little bit. You know, when you look at the other, which I'm not going to bring them in, but if you were to look at the other Russian tanks that I have, you know, with the 122Ss or just 122s caliber guns, or let's even talk about the 152s, you're going to have a huge, huge aim time, right? Well, let's go ahead and agree that we're going to bring in, at least in my world, we're going to bring in vents. Well, reload time. we're going to bring in a rammer. That's a done deal. Really, the only thing that we need to choose from is, are we going to go with, like I've done with many of my Russian tank destroyers, am I going to bring in a GLD? Well, it turns out the answer is no. And the reason being that I went with the binocular, which gives you a 25% view range buff, and nothing else, is because if you look at my tier 7, one of my tier 7 tank destroyers, which I'll go ahead and for this instance bring that thing in because it really does make a lot of sense. Not the 152, I'm talking about the 100M1. Because of the nature of that particular gun, the way this tank destroyer is designed, it makes more sense to not have a GLD. And the reason being, or even a VSTAB if that's even available. And the reason being is that the aim time here is 1.7, whereas the other types of tanks, well, let's just bring in the SU-122-44. I'm just picking one at random. There you go. And this guy here has an aim time of 2.90. So they have, and they only get worse with the aim time, So when it comes to looking at the tank that we're looking at now and trying to figure out what exactly it is that we want to put on for that last line item for equipment, it just really makes sense that we're going to go ahead and put on binocs, skipping the need for a GLD, because 2.1 seconds is absolutely doable. Absolutely doable. I am not playing peek-a-boom and really trying to eke out my jumping around a corner and shooting and dancing around. This thing here is going to really work out well. Play it like a traditional TD in my opinion. Put on those binocs. Stay out of trouble. This thing will see up to a tier 10. So there you go. We've rounded out the reasons behind the equipment. Taking a look at the consumables, kind of went with my standard setup here with the big kits for the bonuses that come with it. I'll just leave it at that. And let's go ahead and take a look at the ammunition. So, ta-da, we're looking at ammunition. HE. Well, the HE down below, I'll put in a couple just because you never know. Nothing really surprising here. 480 to 800 for the damage, 49 to 81 for pen. It's kind of like what you expect from a large calibered HE round. The main round though up here is 368 to 613. Pretty respectable damage amount with a 161 to 260 penetration. So that is something I can absolutely work with. And I believe that is the primary way you're going to use this round. I mean, to me, I'm going to kind of use it like I do a 122, but it just happens to be a 130. So primary use of ammunition would be the primary ammo. Secondary use would be the HE for those very rare occasions. So last thing to look at is the premium ammunition. What's this all about? Well, first thing I'm going to notice is that they are the same in that they are both armor piercing. Cool. That makes sense. So we're kind of in the same kind of world here. Then I'm going to look at what am I getting for spending 4,000 silver for one round? Holy mackerel. Well, I'm only jumping up. Well, I shouldn't say only. I mean, it's a pretty decent amount. I mean, 60-ish, right? So you're looking at 60-ish millimeters of pen on the low end. You're looking at 100 on the top end. So I'm sorry, damage. Hello. So you're looking at damage of jumping up to 40-ish to 100-ish. So it's something. It's something. But really, why do you switch to a premium round? Do you really do it for the damage? You generally do it for what? You generally do it for the pen. So I'm taking a look at the pen, and the normal pen is 161 to 269. I'm expecting some really fat, it's worth 4,000 silver to shoot this sort of thing benefit. And I look and I see the pen is less. Huh? So it's 140 to 234. So I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. That does not make sense to me. They're the same characteristics. So it's not like we're doing apples to oranges, like a heat round or something weird, which, okay, I get it because now you're in a different flavor. They're the same flavor. So I really don't honestly have no answer for this. If you guys can explain to me why they went in this direction for a premium round, if there's a benefit that I'm not seeing, please inform me. With that said, I'm going to run with a 21, a 2, and a 2. I can experiment later, that sort of thing, but for the most part, this is how I anticipate my priorities are going to lie with the 21, 2, 2. That's that sort of setup. All right, so we kind of handled everything except for the last part, which is, let's go ahead and take a look At the individual scores that make up this premium tank, this Russian tank destroyer firing the 130 millimeter. This is a tier 8 that sees a tier 10. The firepower is considered a 43 with a standard shell damage of 567. Near penetration is 156. Reload time is 10.3. I think that's very doable. And it's only going to get better with the different bonuses that you're going to put on with your crews, etc., etc. Survivability is 27. Armor depth 0 to 90 millimeters. Hit points 1,000. Yeah, not too shabby. As far as armor is concerned, though, like any other TD that I'm running from Russia, do I really, well, at this, tier, the 152s, etc., am I really going to be counting on that armor? No, I'm counting on do not shoot me, please. Mobility, very slow, 38 kilometers per hour. It's considered a 13 for mobility as a score. Concealment 47, not too fancy. Stationary is 0.28, 0.17. Pretty much I'm focusing on getting the gun in there. I'm not going to emphasize or be concerned about my camouflage enhancement. I'm just going to try to stay far, far back and use range for my camo. Spotting is 380. Nothing to shake a stick at. I wish it was better, but it is what it is. It's kind of in line with the Russian tank destroyers. Not surprised. 730 is the signal range. When you look at the individual modules, you can go ahead and see it has a very low fire chance. The speeds are pretty much what you expected there. The gun, I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing works out. Max elevation of 14.3 degrees and depression of 8, so take that and use it accordingly. Nothing too surprising there. Aim time, I am impressed with. Having not even driven this tank, I'm already impressed with the aim time on this thing, and the accuracy could be a lot worse. Reload time starting off at a 10.3 with some enhancements. I think this tank destroyer may very well be a fun contender and a pain in the butt for the enemy. Rotation speed, of course, we don't have a turret. We do have the hull traverse at 28 degrees, so it's nothing to write home about. Take that in mind as folks engage you and get closer, and you're going to have to try to brawl and save your butt. That's going to be challenging. 730 for the signal range. Ammunition we've kind of already gone over. There it is there, all spread out in one neat little chart. And the crew members live right there. 1 point, nothing really different or exciting to share, but just if you haven't really thought about it already, shot placement is very important, and so just make sure you know what you're talking about when you are aiming at someone. Given the choice, look where these guys are and aim accordingly. Try to take out those modules, try to take out the crew members and that sort of thing. Last but not least is the exciting look at the Crayola crayon box, otherwise known as the armor here. So this is the overall, showing you the various different flavors and colors. Starting off with the 1 to 20 section there, it's pretty much just, hopefully your treads are going to eat that with some spaced armor, etc. Hopefully you're just getting tracked and not really being damaged. And then you have these two surface areas there, which is still nothing to write home about. I mean, really, none of this is really armor that I'm going to be relying on. There you go. Starting to get a little thicker at 71 to 90 here. But again, that is absolutely penable. 91 to 120. Now we're starting to look at the matlet and a little strip in the front. Honestly, though, the guys you're going to be going up against, pretty much the best way to not get damaged is to not get shot. So don't rely on this armor, but you guys already know that. All right, so there you go. We have the HMH, I will speak a little clearly, a little better there. HMH ISU-130 in all its glory with its super, super long barrel. I think the paint job looks pretty dope on this thing. I think the little bits on here are pretty cool, and I'm impressed with, I'm waiting for the jokes, but I'm really impressed with the size of that gun, because, I mean, it does look pretty intimidating. Tell me I'm wrong. Doesn't it remind you of, it's more on par with the tier 8 American tank destroyer. It really reminds me of the T-28-ish kind of feel to it. So I'm curious to see how this thing is going to perform. Even though it's a premium, I'm curious to see how this thing is going to perform amongst its peers in the non-premium world. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road and take it for a spin. All right, so we are opening up on Westfield here, a little clip for you to see what it's like. Look at the mini-map there. I thought I had a group of friends coming up behind me. It turns out it's just me and one TD at the front line. And we have some big, bad, scary guys in this game. And but I figure, they're going to come up behind. Maybe I'm just beating them in speed, so I'm going to take my position. But this clip, I'm kind of calling it holding the line on your own, because As you can see, that tier 6 green TD that just went in reverse behind me. Now I am the front line here. Looks like towards the village we do have a heavy moving in, but I really do not have any friends. You do not want to be the front line in this tank, but I'm sharing this with you because under this stressful, uncharacteristic role that I've accidentally assumed in a tank destroyer, especially one that does not have a turret, here I am holding the front line, and I wanted to show you what this particular tank can do. So I accidentally lived longer than 5 seconds in this situation. And oh, he just missed him there. So you can see, you're starting to get the idea here. You got this heavily armored Motherland over there peeking through. You got 2 tanks to my right. He went ahead and volunteered himself to be dismissed from the board. You got a T-29. Oh boy, got an AMX. Luckily I bounced that, but he is spotting me. We do have 1 artillery. Not a big fan of this situation. And so I'm hoping that my friends behind me are going to suppress the enemies popping over the hill. But look at those TDs on the 6-7 line. They're not really in position. Took out that light tank. I am really on my own, and there's no way for me to run away. So here we are, trying to hold them off as long as possible and buy some time. Ferdinand, full health. Ferdinand, boom. I got a piece of him. I did take some damage from the rear, but I cannot deal with that at this time. Look at the reload on this thing. Boom. I am not running any type of consumable rations. And look at this. He's going to get a shot at me? Maybe. Oh, I did take some damage. I mean, it is what it is, but look at this thing. It's not even one-on-one. And yet, boom. So this thing is doable. Finally, the Super Pershing comes in, finishes me off for just a couple of points there. But I was alone. But look at that. 8 pens, 3 kills, 4 criticals under that duress situation. And this tank can get it done. Now, I'm really excited to set you up for this next scene. So here we are. We're going to have a Motherland being on the other side of this rock here. All I have is just a small piece of it in view. Check out what happens. Here it comes. Boom. I mean, come on now. How fun is that? We ended up getting trashed on that particular map, but that ammo rack was sweet. Now, when it hits the fan, you got to ask yourself, how is this thing going to handle in a brawling situation? Where here I am, Fatherland. He's practically full health, if not full health. Yes, I got the drop on him from the rear, so I got 1 shot into him. Look at the reload on the ISU-130. Then I got a lucky bounce there. I mean, look at this thing. It is beautiful. You couldn't ask for more. Got another hit into him, and he just has a sliver of health. Here we are going back and forth. Got to watch out for that bounce. There is Pike Nose. Did a good job of bouncing my shot, but the ram ended it for him. Alright, folks. So basically, I don't like to have videos that are too long, but I'm going to go ahead and stretch it out by a game or 2, only because it's going to be a little while before I put up another one of these ISU-130 games. I still have 2 other tanks to knock out for you. That's going to take some time, and I don't want to keep you waiting. I want to give you something something that's not going to leave you wanting for too much more, because I know it's impatient to wait for those videos. So here we are, rolling into the section that I want to share with you, which is just kind of showing you how the games are doing. You can have some crappy handful of pens and you come out pretty decent. You throw in 7 pens-ish, no bonuses, right? No operations, and you're getting 100,000 silver or more. You're just getting an idea here of the various results here. Second classes, again, 112,000 there, 8 pens. You know, you're looking at the high 2,000s for the damages. In one case, I got a sweet Sinai medal, which was pretty neat, but line of Sinai. But regardless of whether it's playing against tier 10s or your top tier, I'm finding something very similar. Just get in those 7, 8, 9, or so pens, and you are going to come out on the plus side big time, making it worth your while. Because to me, I kind of like a nice benchmark number of 100,000 silver. It's kind of a nice number that rolls right off the tongue there, and what can I say? The ammunition is ridiculously inexpensive. That very much helps with the, the outcome, the net gain of this tank. We're starting to roll into an actual gameplay here on Live Oaks. And, bottom line is to be honest, I don't even think I even to this day use a premium round from this tank yet. And if I have, it may have been once or twice. I mean, it's been phenomenally great. Okay, so here we are, Live Oaks. I've taken the location here that is a favorite of mine for TD action here at the C6. When I am spawning in the north, luckily I have this tank destroyer Motherland next to me, which makes absolute sense. And we're kind of hanging out, waiting to see what's going on. I did get 2 pens and a kill by the time that I am talking to you right now. Things are unfolding such that I see some guys over here in the A1, B1 area. And remember, my view range, being a Russian TD, is only so good, even with those binoculars. But now the time has come when I do the math and I figure out how many people I see moving through the city. And I look down south and see who's there. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I got to get in the action. No more being a turret on a hill. I think there's only one guy left there in the city. I do see a TD that is popping up over here to the south. So now I got to go ahead and resume my primary role. It looks like they may have it handled so far. The Reds are inappropriately coming one at a time at the greens in the city there. So I'll take advantage of that. And I'll go ahead and shoot out the, what was that, a 527. And you're going to find that many times I'm looking at high 400s, low 500s. Very satisfactory when it comes to this tank's output here. And there you go. No one is covering this guy. It's amazingly great. Got a 513 off of him. Now there's just one shot left. We don't know if anybody's popping over the hills, but it is worth taking the risk here. Now he's behind this building, which blows for me. He's smart enough to know to get cover. So I'm going to work on this Chaffee very quick. I'm not so much afraid of his gun. I'm afraid of his spotting ability. There are 2 TDs. I'm keeping the mountain. I'm keeping the house here in mind, but things need to be done. Going to use the downslope here to increase my speed as well as change my elevation to avoid any potential incoming fire. There's a T-32 off in the distance. Of course, the arty is now spotted. Yet another friend to my left has been spotted. And then a TD way off there. So for all intents and purposes, we kind of know where all the bad guys are. I rushed a shot, which sucked. I do have a Borsig in the background. That could have cost me big time. So I identified the threat there. And now my primary concern is staying alive. So I went ahead and moved laterally to get out of the way of the Borsig. Although I'm still in potential danger, I felt confident enough that he's going to be engaged and that I have moved laterally enough that he can't see me for the moment, although he could be still getting into position. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get some extra shots off of the guys here in the plains, get those Reds, alleviate some of the heat off of my friendly folks moving in on the enemy to the south. Missed, what a noob. I missed the light tank there. I'm kicking myself even during this replay, because I hate making mistakes like that. That would have been so glorious. He would have either been one-shotted or he would have at least been a 2-shot, but I suck. And at least I went ahead and got him there. Granted, I had the help of another incoming fire on the Chaffee, but he is put down. We have a prototype there off in the background. Kind of, and this is one of the things you have to battle when you're playing World of Tanks. You got to say to yourself, do I reposition and get a better chance on getting around the cover that the enemy's hiding on, or do I hope that he's going to stick it out there and I can stay in position and be aimed in? And it really is quite the gamble. I was trying to knock down some damageable, destructible, things like buildings. Finally, I got my way through there and found a hole to exploit there. Ha 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 ha. Now the last thing is the Borsig that is moving in on me here. I mean, you can assume he's either A, moving in, or B, he's going to be hiding out. So either way, I'm the closest one. It's my job to be a scout tank. Here we go. Scary part is the Borsig can outspot me, and I cannot scope in to see exactly where his turret is pointing without getting literally my gun on him to look. However, in order to do that, I would have to fight the up and over of the hill, which is a challenge with the gun depression. So I'm going to go ahead and be satisfied enough to at least keep this guy lit up for our 2 arties and anybody else that's going to come in to assist. I was going to go ahead and move to the right, try to use those houses as a block, but it turns out that he gets popped. I get the spotting damage, so it's a win-win in the end. It was a very good game, very good for a TD. Worked out pretty darn well. And you got to see the damage output of this gun. I mean, again, look, only 8 penetrations. Really? First place. I know that I wasn't playing against a bunch of Michael Jordans, but this is kind of your standard going up against, randoms. All right, so here you go. Opening up here on Corellia here, I believe. Getting a little brain dead. And you can see they're moving in. We're defending. They're attacking. And I moved in such that I'm getting in position to get the side shots, or attempt to get the side shots as they approach and manipulate, not manipulate, capitalize on the flat areas that they're going to be vulnerable in. Because I do have the greens over there in the northeast corner, and they're able to do some spotting, so it really worked out well. And some guys are unfolding here over there on the main hill. You got yourself the SU. It was at the M1, and got some action in there. Now look at that! Look at that! Ding, 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 ding. You see that? It says 24 pens. So that dude got on fire, and it was like a forest fire. That is hilarious. He burnt to a crisp. That was fantastic. So here you have a I believe that's a T69, if my eyeballs do not deceive me, which is, of course, the Tier 8 autoloader for the Americans at medium. You know, very, very high priority target, in my opinion. That guy can really do some damage to our team. So I was able to get some into him. We do have the Tiger P and some other folks moving up from the south. Now, again, I'm constantly doing some math and looking at the mini-map. Where are the enemies? Who do I know is where? Did you like that over the top? Did you like that little clip on that motherland? Beautiful. So doing some math in my head, and also too in this particular game I'm top tier, and of course it's still a gamble. Nothing is for sure. And I said, you know what? It is time to go ahead and charge south. Part of this game is being strategically sound. The other part of this game is it's a game. So, you know, I'm not playing like I would in real life. And at least my tactics due to greed and trying to maximize score, sometimes I'll push the limit and go ahead and do things that are way more riskier than you should really be doing them, air quotes, for true tactics. But that's just because I need to beat out the greens, get in there, and get some scores. Now the good news is, especially top tier, this tank is an absolute pleasure to play. I mean, I feel pretty darn confident in this tank. Now again, do I want to take hits? Do I want to be frontline? Absolutely not. But beyond the basic concepts of durness, you're not frontline. This tank takes care of business. And like I said previously, honestly, I don't even recall if I've even fired a premium round out of this, even when I'm playing against tier 10. Because many of the times, if I'm going against tier 10, I'm able to sneak them into appropriate locations. Now the E5, of course, that guy's a bear, but he's his own animal. But I'm talking, M103s and whatnot. I'm penning those guys. But use your brain and make sure you know where you're aiming, etc., etc., etc. Now, I can see 2 known enemies there on the one line. I've got 1 enemy here to the south. I figure, you know what? This TD here, you're on your own. I'm not going to climb a hill. I'm going to get more bang for the buck and help out with a known location of 2 enemies versus trying to fight up and over a hill just to battle 1 guy, which may or may not even be alive the time I get there. So here I am cruising along. We do have 1 unidentified or 1 unlocated heavy tank to figure out where he is, if memory serves, unless I'm getting confused, which is a strong possibility. Meanwhile, this guy did present himself, so there you go. So we do know where all 3 of them are. So here he is. Let me help you out, Cherry Tier. You're welcome. I expect a tip of at least 15%, preferably 20% left on the table for me there for helping you out. Now here we are, putting ourselves in a position where we can affect the enemy by being very aggressive and doing some calculated navigation. So there it is. Last guy on the board is the T32. Kind of a choice. Little side note here. Do you go into the center and account for dispersion, or do you really try to pinpoint at over 500 meters certain key areas and try to get those fires and whatnot? Well, it depends on your crew, your ability, your dispersion of your particular tank. Just things that I actually do think about while I'm playing, if and when I'm playing a good game, and I do have my wits about me. So 137 silver, there you go. Only 9 pens. Only 189 sisted. I mean, look at that. Literally, if you can do 7 to 9 pens, you have enough damage where you are doing pretty pretty darn well. And that's at a tier 8 game. You'll only do better if you're at a higher tier because of the bonus of you being a tier 8. And if you're punching a tier 10 in the eye, you do get a little bit of a bonusy zap for that. Also, too, noticed as a side note, hey, what's up? It's a clanmate. What's up, bro? So I gave him some love. Meanwhile, that is just another further example of just how this tank can be played. Has some pretty decent speed. Nothing too stellar, but nothing too surprising about the lack of hull traverse speed. Again, walking with 29 pens if you include the fire, but in reality, it was only 9 pens. So just kind of keep that in mind. One of my favorite places to play on this particular on this particular map. Beautiful. Again, high 400s, low 500s consistently with this particular shell. These guys are just really doing a great job of presenting themselves up and over the hill there. That was a crappy low roll of 384, but at least I did ammo rack. I believe it was a Tiger 131. But look at that, no arty. Good couple of platoons out there. So in theory, they're going to be working pretty well together, coordinating. But again, that's just an assumption, and we all know what happens when you assume. And you know, it's kind of funny, I'm switching targets here, and that was a Hellcat for 525. And you know, just think about the types of tanks you're shooting at, the types of armor they have or do not have. This particular shell is a wondrous shell, and it is just so much fun. You can see here that I just went for a blind fire, said just forget it, I'll give it a try. And again, they're so darn inexpensive. It's amazing how strong, how powerful of a shell it is for such low cost, and that is fantastic. I mean, really, that is like 40% of this tank as far as bringing value to the table. You can see here I run just because I didn't know what else to do. I ran 2 HEs, 2 premium, and the rest are standard shells. I mean, the HEs are for commonsensical reasons, but for the most part, I just have them there just because I'm still in the experimental phase of, you know, is premium even really worth it? And I'm sure there's going to come across a, you know, a tier 10 or something weird situation where it's like, well, you don't have any HEs to get some sort of points, and you're going to need to bolster it up there. So went ahead and not happy with myself for only tracking that T67. But I'm going to go ahead and take a hit from him because I'm so angry. I'm going to go ahead and slap him across the face there. And very few points, but it was fun to get that ammo rack. What was also nice, too, worth the gamble, is that being a T67, I really wasn't too concerned about losing a lot of HP. However, that's starting to hurt because I'm having this AMX 5100 peek up and over, and he caught me off guard. Luckily, I went ahead and put him down, so that was a night for him. But we do have some guys, you know, coming around the western area here, and they're going south. So it's getting really challenging. It's just me and one TD to my left, and granted, of course, there's that heavy tank out there to the far west. But everybody else is in the back. What are those mediums and heavies doing in the back? I have no clue. At least the guys are pushing around in the north, so they're working it. Don't know why we have all these wannabe snipers behind me. When I'm a TD and I'm frontline, I kind of question the greens. But that's another story for another time. So here we have a tier 6 T150 straight into the turret. I'm sorry, your armor is just not going to stand up against this tank. It is almost... I was going to say I feel guilty about it, to be honest. No, I don't. I pretty much enjoy it. It was just beautiful. Hot knife through butter. Now, the one big concern you're going to have with, well, for any larger tank that has a small, shorter, slower traverse, whether it's turret or hull, in this case, I'm toast because I have, you know, no turret, and it's a slow traverse, hull traverse speed. I've got one light tank is bad enough. 2 light tanks working together, problematic. So here you go. Make sure you lead. Do not auto lock. Got him for 476. And now I'm going to kind of juke him around and do that. And I was really banking on my friends in the back to try to assist. Wasn't enough. Tiger 131 scooted in and took me out. The end result from this particular game, though, ended up being 146,488. Again, just so on the experience. But again, 11 pens. 11 pens. That much money. 0 operational bonuses. Came in first place, but yeah, whatever. The point is that we're talking about the money and how this tank would do for you. And it is fantastic. So there you go. That kind of sums it up. I mean, I'm pretty darn clear. I'm pretty happy with this tank. I'm going to enjoy grinding my crews out in it and making some cash. So eventually, after playing some games, and it's very dependent, how well you do or not well you do, because you can't carry the team in this tank, but you definitely can affect the outcome. I finally ended up getting the operation completed. So I enjoyed getting paid that 100,000. You can see in this game it wasn't too hot. It was only 76,000 from the game alone. But there it is. This is the tank in all its beauty with its sweet, sweet 130 millimeter gun. Wasn't sure, too sure how this 130 gun was going to do compared to the 122, 122S, but it turns out that I am ecstatic at the reload time. The amount of damage that this thing will do. Came with this package, got it early for you guys, but now it is for sale individually, and you too can be the proud owner of the ISU-130. And I think it just looks snappy, snappy cool. It looks pretty rad, and more importantly though, it really performs well. Again, folks, thank you very much for helping me be able to do this for you, bring these videos to you, and continue to grind the channel here, getting that new tower, getting that PC to replace this old laptop. So you have the GoFundMe, you have the PayPal, there's the descriptions, the link is in the description. Please feel free to assist. And of course, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And so concludes our share time. So this is the after action report with RONIN 47R. I did purchase it. I did play it. I talked about it. I showed you stuff. I showed you how it turns out when it's earning cash, what it looks like when it's shooting baddies. And I just think it looks pretty cool too. So there you go. Let me know what you think of it. I'm really curious to hear from you, and I will catch you later. Girls, you said you had something you wanted to ask them?
Do you guys like our channel? Then please donate and keep our channel running.
Well, that was a nice thought, girls, but you know what comes next.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are one of the 47 Ronin. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.